From the Las Vegas Review-Journal, how Trump's big, beautiful bill could impact gamblers. Well, my friends, last night we talked about how there was a small two-paragraph provision added to Trump's big, beautiful bill in the Senate that says that wagers can only be expensed up to 90%. So we have a bunch of updates on this and what it really means. The first thing I'm going to say is this was added to the bill. So we did some investigating. I see that mosquito over there.
Where is he?
He's over there. Anyway, so when this story broke, we did some investigating. And what we believe right now, based on our sources on the Hill, the Senate Parliamentarian added this provision in. This individual is a Democrat. My personal belief is that this provision was added intentionally to sabotage the bill. And there's a lot to why this is the case. Right now, we've got Democrat members of Congress. Dina Titus of Nevada says, buried within the BS Republican budget bill is a provision that harms poker players and those who gamble by limiting loss deductions. I'm working on a legislative fix that fairly treats gaming losses in the tax code. It's going to be, at least right now, it looks like Democrats are swooping in to try and save the day. They say Rep. Dina Titus, Democrat, Derek Stevens, Derek Stevens, co-owner of Circa, the D and Golden Gate Hotel Casinos, share similar concerns about this. So here's what I'm told happened. There was a tax rule that said any gaming, any wagering, you can deduct all of your losses against your winnings, but not more than your winnings. Basically, if you go to a casino and you're a regular person and you wager $100, you can't just write off $100. Only if you win. So this was set to expire, and the Senate initially said we just re-up it, whatever, who cares? The Senate Parliamentarian wanted to take it out completely, which would have meant that literally gambling is impossible because no matter what you win, you got to pay taxes on everything, even when you lose money. So this would mean that if you won money but then lost it right away, the government would still consider that income. The Senate Finance Committee negotiated saying, well, let's just do 99%. The parliamentarian refused and said it's got to be 90, to which they agreed, thinking it didn't matter. What we're hearing now is this goes beyond gambling. This affects any kind of wagering in any kind of tournament, any kind of sporting event where you decide to enter. If you were in a golf tournament or a fishing tournament and you put money up to enter that tournament, that's considered wagering. At least that's what some of the people are arguing now. I'm not a tax lawyer. They're saying that that still qualifies as a loss, as a wager, as far as the tax code goes. So what's happening, and I'll tell you my thoughts on this. I think this was intentionally added by the parliamentarian, a Democrat, to create a circumstance that will target regular working class white dudes who live in Democrat urban areas that vote for Trump. Why? This effectively will shut down fantasy sports apps. So here's what I'm seeing from everybody. They're saying gambling is bad. Who cares anyway? Okay. The majority of like the middle-aged white dudes in Pennsylvania who shifted for Donald Trump, union working guys, who are now going to be asking questions as to why they can no longer go to their fantasy sports league or why they're getting taxed $3,000 at the end of the year for having done it. What I'm hearing from people, a lot of people are saying, well, who cares? Even if you go to Vegas, you're not really going to track all of this anyway. If your argument is just line your taxes, fair point, I guess. Most people don't want to do that, but you're right. People probably won't. They probably won't report this stuff. What I think happened, wild conspiracy. If you were a Democrat and you're trying to sabotage Donald Trump in the midterms, what group are you targeting? You're targeting like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, where a lot of white working class people shifted for Donald Trump. What do these guys like doing? Fantasy sports on the weekends with their buddies. Sports betting on the weekends with their buddies. You do something like this, FanDuel, DraftKings, and all whatever app you're using, you're going to open up the app one day and a notification is going to pop up saying, we do track every transaction you make and we'll be reporting that to the IRS as we're obligated to do. And then next year, some random 40-year-old dude who makes $50,000 a year is going to get a tax bill for $2,000 and say, I have no idea what just happened. Because a Senate parliamentarian Democrat injected in this bill that you can only write off 90% of your losses. So I think this is just one component of what Democrats likely conspired to do behind the scenes to make sure that it's a poison pill. If Amodei in Amodi, or whatever his name is, the Nevada congressman Republican, votes against Trump, Trump's going to primary him, right? Okay, if he votes for the bill, the people of Nevada will primary him. So it's a rock and a hard place. Looks like and not to mention Nevada was slim majorities between Republican and Democrat. If the Republicans pass this, you are going to see the entirety of the gaming industry, which includes sports tournaments and otherwise, blaming Donald Trump, saying this is his fault and it's bad for the industry, and this is $172 billion.
I mean, look, I don't know a whole lot about gambling at all, or the law surrounding it. But if you've got a state like Nevada that's got such a very slim majority,
Well, there's three. I think it's 3 Democrats, 1 Republican. But the Senate race was like 1 percentage point. Yeah, if the Republicans in the Senate vote pass this, Nevada's going to go Democrat 100%. It's going to never change.
I mean, look, this bill has the it's possible that this bill causes havoc with the midterms for Republicans, because there's a lot of people that are really upset with a lot of things in it.
I think that the bill needs to pass. Trump needs to get his budget for illegal immigration. But you would be crazy not to think or to believe that Democrats are not thinking ahead for how they can sabotage Republicans in the midterms. Knowing Trump's bill is going to pass, what would any clever person do? Can we get stuff put in there? That'll be a time bomb. Then in the midterms, we can run campaign ads saying that so-and-so Republican voted to tax your fantasy sports so that your hobby would effectively be shut down. Or a pro industry like the World Series of Poker. You're going to have all of these pros popping up already. Newsweek, NBC have written this up. I think it is only by luck we caught this one bad thing injected by the Parliamentarian. But I'm willing to bet there's probably a dozen more nobody noticed because it's almost 1,000 pages.
I mean, selfishly, I like the idea of less people being at SHOT Show this year, But I understand the point that you're making. This is not something I had really known about until this morning. I was watching your show before we came on, and we got to get deportations going, so I want this thing to pass. But I do think you're making a fair point. I mean, what percentage of Nevada's revenue comes from travel to Vegas specifically for gambling? It's got to be
Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. And yeah,
Derby.
The Derby. Hey, we were talking about that behind the scenes. Everyone's trying to figure out why Thomas Massey is going so hard. Well, I mean, the Kentucky Derby revolves around gambling, at least partly.
Well,
so.
he was going hard against it before the Senate the Parliamentarian. I want to stress this. This is the linchpin. The Parliamentarian appointed by a Democrat put this in there. Why?
Can someone explain to me how the hell Parliament, I apologize for cursing, gets appointed when you have control of the...
It's fake.
Like, how does that work?
The Republicans could easily remove the Parliamentarian.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's fake.
But it takes 50 senator vote to remove them, right? Or a majority vote?
Presumably, and we have how many seats? 52?
I'm not sure exactly.
I think it is 52, yeah.
So they theoretically should be able to just change the rules. That was the point of winning a majority. But they're not doing it. And they're going, oh, no, the Parliamentarian is doing things. There's nothing we can do to stop it.
Yeah, and in the Senate, because this is a reconciliation bill, it doesn't have to meet 60 up there either. It just has to make simple majority in the Senate, too. Right? This
is the Byrd rule that basically the Parliamentarian advises on what needs to go in it so that it can't be subject to the filibuster. And then all the members of the Senate just say, okay, whatever you say, Parliamentarian.
And that's only there because it's a budgetary bill, not a policy bill.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they could change all the rules, and the Republicans could say, we are going to win forever, but they are intentionally floundering. This is what they do. They're never intended to win. They're pulling a Washington Generals right now. They're whoopsie daisies.
Which is frustrating.
So I think people need to consider it is only because of pro poker players that this story actually got any attention. The World Series of Poker is happening right now. You got 100,000+ people flying into Las Vegas for the biggest event of the year. And there's tens of thousands of pro players. And they do this at one of the highest profile moments for the gaming industry. I'm like, that sounds intentional. Mm-hmm. It sounds like they were like, what will cause the biggest problem? So here's what I thought. Conservatives, many are cheering for it. They're like, oh, really? It's going to inadvertently ban gambling? Ha, good. It's like, okay, Kentucky Derby, Charlestown races. Yeah. You've got all sports betting, ESPN, you've got DraftKings, you've got Barstool Sports, you've got FanDuel, you've got UFC, all of these industries. Then you've got to consider too, and I'm not so sure on this one, but I saw people pointing out that wagering for tournaments, when you enter any kind of tournament, be it golf or fishing or anything where you go with a sponsor, the money paid up front is considered a wager because they pay out a prize pool.
No kidding.
So this means that entry fees can't be expensed 100% anymore. So if you enter a golf tournament and lose, you still have to pay on any money received, even though it costs you money to do. So it looks like they did this intending to set a time bomb for the midterms or something. Or like for Rand Paul and Massey, what choice do they have? Or, well, Massey's Tennessee, right?
I think he's Kentucky.
Massey's Kentucky.
He is Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Rand Paul's Kentucky as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's those two and then McConnell.
Imagine being like, guys, you can't bet on the horse at the Derby anymore.
Right, yeah.
You're going to lose money. So the thing about this that people should understand, I know we talked about it quite a bit, but I'll just lay it out, is that as a percentage base, it's an exponential loss for your recreational gamer or amateur, tournament goer. If you let's say every month you play in a tournament that costs $500 and you're like, man, I love fishing. It's $500 under. We do it once a month and it's like a regional thing. That means you're going to be looking at about $6,000 wagered. So you're going to owe taxes on $600 if you break even on that tournament. And then you're going to have to pay, I don't know. You're going to be $180, $200 on your taxes, and you're going to get a bill in the mail, and you're going to wonder why it happened. You're going to open your FanDuel app, and it's going to say, we are here. We are now officially sending all of your information to the IRS. You're going to get a letter in the mail in June, and it's going to be like, based on the information from FanDuel, you owe an additional $2,000. Every time you wager money, if you break even, the amount of losses exponential. It's going to keep increasing, meaning the percentage base you owe goes up. If you bet $1 and you win and lose 1,000,000 times, you will owe the government taxes on $50,000. And you have only $1 to your name. It's insane. Long story short, they're sabotaging Trump's bill. They want to steal the midterms, and they're doing it in a way that conservatives are going to cheer for and regret it later.
It's not even stealing. It's just smart politics on their part.
It's masterful, man. I'm impressed, honestly. Yeah.
And it does call into question just how much of the American economy relies on gambling now. I know it's become a meme of sorts, especially in baseball, with how much gambling is involved in the market for them there. But it's definitely interesting.
I think, additionally, like once again, I feel my thoughts on this are we lost, we're fucked. Because conservatives can't see past the word gamble. They don't understand this is like a fishing tournament. This is like a 43-year-old guy being like, I'm going to go enter a fishing tournament, go fishing with the boys. And that's a wager against a prize pool. And at the end of the year, they're going to be like, you owe money on all your winnings. And he's like, but I'm negative now. Why can't I go fishing anymore?
I'm curious.
And all the conservatives keep saying is fuck gambling. And I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Even fantasy sports is different when you think about it. They don't understand the difference between fantasy sports and gambling, considering how prevalent fantasy sports are for people these days.
I think the issue is that the bill says wagers and people keep saying gambling. This is a tax on wagering in any capacity. You want to go to a golf tournament, they're taxing your winnings. You can't win anymore.
It sounds like if you're going to a shooting tournament and there's a gun on the line and you win it, that's considered income, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
and you wagered against it.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Oh.
I wonder who actually put this language in the bill.
The Senate Parliamentarian.
The parliamentarian herself.
So Lisa started digging around and asking Senate staffers, how did this get put in the bill? I have the tweet. Lisa Elizabeth says, I'm now hearing this on the Parliamentarian invoking the Byrd Rule, a specific change related to the deduction of gambling losses under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is scheduled to expire at the end of 25. You can deduct gambling losses up to the amount of your gambling winnings. Full stop. This is, again, the issue. It's wagering in the bill. Wagering, not gambling. Wager. Expiration at the end of 2025, a change introduced by the TCJA that temporarily removed the limitation that losses could not exceed 2% of adjusted gross income. I'm told the Senate parliamentarian flagged it and said no to the extension because of the Byrd Rule. Congress went to her and asked for 99%. She said no and agreed to 90%. Her name is Elizabeth McDonough. She's supposed to have no political agenda, but she is no Trump fan and keeps delivering blows to his agenda. I think there's no way to explain this to conservatives to get them to understand what this will do to the midterms, because the only thing I keep hearing from most people is, but gambling is bad. And I'm like, right, okay, so don't enter any kind of tournament. No race car tournaments, no amateur racetracks, no destruction derbies, no golf, no fishing, no disc golf, no football, no frisbee, whatever it is. And then on top of that, you can talk about sports betting, UFC, the entirety of the gaming industry of Vegas. Like, this is a nuclear bomb.
I wonder if there's even like some type of other stats on what the political affiliations are as far as gambling, like which party gambles more, which which members.
Probably Democrats.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, and the Democrats are already the ones.
I mean, not if you're talking fishing tournaments and golfing tournaments and shooting tournaments. If we're going to talk about wagering as opposed to just gambling, then I would say that, isn't the joke always that the voters on the left, they don't have any money anyways?
Yeah. Well, I wonder what this does. Here's people that do buy scratch off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a chat right there. I was going to read it from Martin Edgar. He says the lottery is a wager.
Yeah.
This is going to nuke a bunch of states. This is going to be absolutely insane.
And the thing is, people that do like scratch offs and stuff like that, they tend to actually be, poorer and lower on the income scale. That's going to really, really hurt those people. I mean, if they do any kind of, I imagine I don't imagine they're looking for deductions on their, for their losses, but at the same time, I mean, it could,
I mean, I don't see how they would be reporting the scratch offs and stuff like that. Like,
check us out.
Individual stores aren't going to be reporting that.
Secession now super chatted $100 saying, "Here's $100. Please shut the fuck up about gambling. Gamble law tax code change. Nobody cares."
Extra 15 minutes on the same topic.
No. I'm reading this because it exemplifies exactly the point I'm making. Conservatives hate gambling and are happy to see Trump's agenda get blown the fuck up by a Democrat, and they don't care. And the midterms are going to come around, and they're going to wonder why they lose in a nuclear fashion. Like, swing districts could flip 10 seats because there's going to be some 50-year-old guy being like, I can't go fishing anymore. Like, I enter a fishing tournament every year in my town, and now I got a tax bill over it.
Look, I'll give in to this if we can at least get Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Well, all right.
I mean, honestly, I think that, like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff in this that really could do a job on the Republicans come the midterms. And I still do believe that if the economy's good, they'll have a positive result in the midterms. I'm not going to talk about individually or whatever, but I think that if the economy's good, they can have a positive result in the midterms. But if the economy's bad, all of these things people are going to remember. And remember they did this, and I'm bummed out.
I'll say this: Amodei will lose in Nevada. That's a seat flipped instantly. He normally wins by like 10 points he's like Reno, but the state, like Reno has gaming. Nevada is a gaming state. Imagine what the ads are going to be when they're like, Amodei voted to destroy the gaming industry in Nevada, specifically with Trump.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about this, but I constitutionally, I'm against, and I mean like personal constitution, not like it's written in there, but I'm against gambling. I don't think it's good, but you win by winning, and we need to win. So your point is taken. I don't know. It sounds plausible to me. I don't really have a strong opinion beyond that, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, it's anything that is this controversial that has the negative reaction that this does. I mean, it's just a better idea to just get it out of there, get rid of it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.